Now, a Nigerian-based research scientist based in Singapore, recently said that it would benefit the world to allow the spread of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. As according to him, clinical data has so far shown that it is less lethal than earlier variants on the contagion. Jonathan Ogbaje said, and I quote, "If Omicron is confirmed less lethal, scientifically expedient action thereafter will be for everyone to open the gates for Omicron to quickly spread and become dominant globally. Omicron will then become the new harmless COVID-19 virus. And does all of this make any sense to you all out there? And why all the fuss about this new variant?" Well, admittedly, we've had tons and tons of intellectual discourse in the past 2 weeks since South African scientists were able to isolate and sequence this supposedly deadly variant. But for further interrogation of what's already known about it, we are being joined by Canada-based family health consultant and associate professor of medicine at the University of Saskatchewan, Dr. Rukevwe Ugwumba. Welcome, doctor. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Speaking of the Omicron variant, we heard what the experts said, that it should be allowed to permeate to other parts of the globe so that it becomes the variant and it's not the new variant and it's not something very strange. What do you say about this?
Actually, I quite agree with it. I know Omicron has been here just for less than a week and caused, I would say, pandemonium in terms of the fear factor. The truth is, on my way en route to Nigeria, actually, that was the day Canada banned Nigerian to travel to Canada, or no foreign travel from Nigeria, put us on the red list because one case had gone through and tested positive. And of course, they said it's a more infectious variant than the Delta variant, and it was tripling the way it spread. And of course, the sequenced the virus, it had 13 new spike proteins, which meant it was twice as infectious as the Delta variant. But the good news, as he said, is no one has died from Omicron. No hospitalizations from Omicron. In fact, as of yesterday, there were 0 cases of new COVID cases in South Africa, whereas England had 64,000 cases. And as this morning, they banned Nigerians from traveling there. So it doesn't make any sense. Like one professor said, it's like shutting the door of the stable when the horse is already bolted. And so what does that mean? It's now an endemic infection. Yes, travel slows the spread, but there's no measuring the cost to the livelihood, the hardships. I mean, this is Christmas coming. Lots of Nigerians have kids studying in England, and some of them are minors. They have to go and pick them up. The cost is £3,000 approximately to isolate for 10 days, which they don't have. So I'm saying, why, there's another angle to it. Well, going back to this virus, it looks like a very mild variant. For sure, people are not dying. The people in Canada who have it, and of course it's spreading, are getting natural infection. So the 2 ways to fight COVID is to be immunized against COVID. There are 2 types of immunization: natural infection and vaccination. And we know that because of the variants, we're relying more on the vaccinations because it's a deliberate infection to get you to block the infection. So now, this virus, if it infects everyone because it's spreading so fast, we have some level of antibody, but does not mitigate the fact that a new variant can still come from the anti-vaxxers, who are the ones that make these new variants. It's very interesting to find out, I'm still asking the question, in Botswana, who were the 4 diplomats that had the first cases? Where did they come from? Right. Because for sure they came from somewhere, they're diplomats. And so now you're labeling Africa as the cause of this new variant, when actually Africa should be applauded for finding out this variant, which seems to maybe be the cure actually for COVID, because lots of people won't take the vaccine for whatever conspiracy theories they have, and we need more infections to block COVID.
Yeah.
All right, looking at Dr. Rukevwe, looking at this particular, the data in front of me right now, I'm seeing that 56.5% of the global population have been vaccinated, whether partially, fully, or have received additional dose, like maybe the booster jab or something. 56.5.
That's too little.
That's too little, yes. But from this particular demographic we've actually just spoken about right now, what are the chances against the Omicron? Because we know that these viruses are mutating. And with the talk that you might still need an extra on the initial set you've had, that's if you've had 2 or 1, depending on the maker. What's the future for those that have taken one or some kind of jab, so to speak?
The truth is, vaccinations work by producing an immune response when you get exposed to the infection. Yeah. And the higher your immunity, the bigger your chance for blocking it. That's why we check, for example, if you took the hepatitis B vaccination series, it's a 3-shot series. Mm-hmm. After some years, as a healthcare worker, I'm going to be checked for my antibody levels. And if they're waning, I'll get a booster shot. So there's no level of vaccine that is enough if your levels wane. So the
that's
more
how it works.
That's how vaccines work.
Okay.
It's
not a one-time jab.
No,
it's not a one-time silver bullet.
No, there's no silver bullets, especially with variants that are getting very clever. Because the virus was released in Wuhan, accident or what, we don't know what happened. But since it came, it's trying to stay. And so there's mutations going. There's several different mutations, but this is found to be the most infectious yet. And the Delta variant was the most deadly yet. So we're happy to see a better variant, if you will. The data is still very new. We don't know exactly what this virus will do. But so far, like you said, no one is in hospital. There's no ICU beds. You know the cost of COVID, the cost of a single life, it's high. And so I'm thinking the way to go is, eventually, we need to check antibody levels. For sure, everyone should get a booster. That's what we're recommending. In Canada now, the age of vaccination is 5 years old. 5 years old and above need to be vaccinated because we know the virus is mutating and jumping to people who are not vaccinated. And that's when it can mutate for people who have no antibodies at all to resist that. And so we're trying to immunize everybody, to be honest. And we're saying, don't wait. If you have had COVID, go and get a vaccine. Once you test negative, go and get a vaccine. Somebody said, wait 6 months, don't wait 6 months. Okay, go and get a vaccine, go and get your second shot, go and get your booster shot. I think that's our best chance yet. Yeah. And of course, if there's a malvariant that's infecting everybody, let's all catch it.
Let's catch it.
Yeah.
Doctor, let's speak to vaccination culture of Nigerians or globally. I don't remember as a kid getting, you get your original vaccinations as a child. Right. And to my knowledge, after a couple years in school, I know I had to get it in middle school and high school. Before I could get to another grade of school, I had to get booster shots. So some people are quite... the culture of vaccinating against measles, mumps, rubella, all those things that you get vaccinated for as a young child, it's quite steady until you reach the age of 15 or 18. I'm not too sure. But it seems like in Nigeria, the preventative vaccination culture is not as steady. Can you, for those in the back, explain why it's important to be vaccinated and get those booster shots just one more time? I know you did it when speaking to Aaron, but I think this is the part that is missed. A lot of people don't realize that they had to get vaccinated for other things as children, so vaccinations are normal. This is just another push to beg people to get vaccinated so we don't have Omicron Part 2.
The problem is the fear factor, like you said. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and actual propaganda against the COVID vaccine because of how it evolved. It was very quick. Most vaccines take 10, 15 years to come from the lab to your arm, from clinical trials. And so that's where the issue is with COVID vaccines. But like you said, measles, mumps, rubella, they are mRNA vaccines. This is not the first time we've had this type of vaccines. Mm-hmm. And there's been links even in the past with no evidence for, say, measles, mumps, rubella causing autism, for example. Mm-hmm. And so parents were refusing the vaccines and we saw the rates go up. And then, of course, it's mandated in Canada, for example, if you're not immunized, you can't come to class. That's it. You do homeschooling. I mean, we can force you, but you're not allowed to mix because you're going to cause infections and new infections and pandemics. And we know that this will not be the last pandemic. So I'm saying to parents, and it's really the job of government, to immunize children. and immunize, in this case, everyone. I have to say that the West haven't really done well in terms of sharing vaccines. The funny thing is all the vaccines have expiry date. And 2019, we're now going 2022. That's 1, 2, 3. This is going to be the 4th year that we've had COVID. Like play, right? Wow. So, and you've been making vaccines at least for a couple of years. And you haven't really shared the vaccines, and they will be all wasted. And it's not, you shut the door to Nigeria. Doesn't prevent the virus when it gets there. There's a man in the United States who's never gone anywhere. He has never left his town, and he has Omicron virus. So it's now an endemic situation.
Should we be making vaccines locally? Is that a possibility?
We must make vaccines locally, but I'm saying that it's a global problem. One rule for everyone. Don't ban Nigeria. Don't ban South Africa. Don't, because there will be leakage. Once the virus is here, it will spread locally, becomes a person-to-person transmission. Yes, travel limits it, but the basic rules is discipline, actually. Let's be disciplined, do your hand washing, social distance, get your vaccination, be prudent.
All right, quickly, before I let you go, an advice, because certainly dirty December is already here, as they like to call it here in Lagos. People will be coming into Nigeria and they'll want to unwind and do quite a lot of activities. Your advice for them?
I'm saying this virus looks as if it's not the worst thing that we've seen yet. We don't know much about it, but don't let your guard down. We still have the Delta variant, which is actually killing people. So we don't know which COVID you're going to get. You understand? So just prevent COVID by doing the simple hand washing measures and all that. We don't know how many vaccines Nigeria should get. And Nigeria, as actually one professor said, hasn't really done much. Ghana is going to install a COVID-making plant. And we know South Africa and Botswana, they're sequencing the virus. What is Nigeria doing? Nigerian government, we have so many people here. We have scientists here. We have brilliant people here. What have you done? You haven't produced drugs. The antiviral drugs that are being made now to treat COVID. We know they're effective. There's trials all over the place. So the COVID there'll be an end to COVID. For me, there's, I don't want to join the conspiracy theories, but there's money in this business. The big pharma, why are they pushing all this fear factor when we haven't studied the disease? Why would you have one case and ban us? The cost of that. People are now flying to different places in Africa, Ghana and all that, to say they've never been in a red zone. So you make people lie.
We'll have to get you to come back and talk about that big pharma. Thank you so much for coming in and talking with us, Doctor. Thank you.
It was a great pleasure. Nice to meet you.